objective is to find and kill assigned targets. Avoid being killed by other players.
Hey guys, it's Nicky, and welcome back to another Assassin's Creed 3 gameplay commentary. Although we're not going to be talking too much about the gameplay today, this is an AC3 wanted match. I'm going to be doing pretty well, kicking a lot of ass as usual, but only for so long can I speak about gameplay and give you tips and tricks and talk about who's getting stabbed on the screen. So instead today, since you guys enjoyed it last time, I'm going to be telling another story time over some AC3 gameplay. I'm not too sure why I taunted that man, but you know what? He deserved it. I'm going to get into the story right after I show you this next little clip of exemplary badassery. Looks like we're going after the Silent Shadow right now, and I'm going to see if I can land a poison on this man because I want to land my poison for variety. He's just going to go ahead and stick on the wall, but I'm going to join my fellow lovely Lady Maverick over here and see if I can get into his blend group for a hidden poison. Looks like I managed to land that. Might have gotten stunned, but we're going to get a huge handful of points from that kill. Anyway, that's enough of me being awesome. Let's get over to the story. So, where I go to school over in California, you need to complete some community service in order to graduate high school, and whether or not you think that is a brilliant rule or not, regardless, you gotta complete some community service. So one summer I was walking around with one of my friends, and we were kind of at this little mall, and we found some of our friends who were from band, because back in middle school, he and I were in band. We're not in anymore in high school, but we found some of them working at a fireworks booth, and they were on the side of the street playing their instruments, holding up signs, trying to advertise for people to go buy at that particular booth because they wanted some commission from it to go towards the band, and they persuaded me and him to help them fundraise. So basically all we had to do was go up to a big cardboard box, cut out a side of it, and in very large Sharpie write out, "Come over to this fireworks stand, support the band," something like that, on the piece of cardboard, stand out on the street with the band and hold up the sign, kind of like those people who dress up in the silly costumes and do it. We didn't need silly costumes. Basically all we had to do is stand on the street, try to wave at people, and get them to come over to the fireworks stand. Easiest 20 hours of community service I ever got, and it was even easier because the dude in charge signed twice as many sheets for me for community service turning in, so I was supposed to get 10 hours, but he accidentally signed twice as many sheets for me. He gave me 2 pieces of paper, so I just got 20 hours for it anyway. Just keep that between you and I, though. Don't tell anyone about that. The requirement was 20 hours to graduate high school, though, and I managed to land 40. I did extra because I'm a good citizen and went above and beyond the requirements and the Call of Duty. Call of Duty. This is AC3. At one point, though, I took a walk down the street and I noticed there were quite a few fireworks stations not too far away from us. In fact, you can pretty much see a lot of them from where our station was. And there was the color guard down the way a little bit, and they were spinning their flags instead of playing instruments. But they held the same boring signs that said, "Get fireworks here." Down the way there was the football team and all the other teams we have at school, and they were all holding similar signs, so I had to make mine stand out somehow. So I threw out my old boring sign that said, "Yo, come get fireworks over here," and I made a new one that said, "Honk if your horn works." Since we were at a stoplight, everyone was looking over to the side every now and then, and we actually got a lot of people honking. I don't live in New York City, but I imagine it started to sound like what it would be over there if people are honking over there a lot. And we actually pissed off the local Applebee's just because we had so many people honking. I remember the manager came out and he was a pretty angry dude. He thought we had some instrument that was playing all those honking noises, but it was actually people's cars. Dude must not know what a trumpet sounds like or something. Anyway, I did hide my sign from him because I didn't want to get in any trouble. But when I did come back the next day, I noticed it was gone because I left it at the fireworks booth. And I have no idea where it went. I doubt that manager stole it, although he did look kind of like a sketchy dude. Anyway, I decided to make a new sign that said something like, "Honk if you're wearing stripes." So this old couple drives up right next to me. This old man driving, looks over at me, reads that my new sign says, "Honk if you're wearing stripes." The guy looks down, sees that he's wearing a striped shirt, looks back at me, makes eye contact, kind of gives me a little scoff, looks back at the road, and drives off. And I say, hell no, I'm not letting that guy get away with it. So I send my friend, who is in track, so she's pretty fast, running down the street, catches up to the old man, and on the back of their car is a for sale and then a phone number. So she gets the phone number, runs back to me, and I decide to give this old man a call. And I'm on the phone with him saying, "Hey, you guys selling a car?" And then I ask for like the make, model, how many miles it has on that. All sort of legitimate business stuff for about 2 minutes. And then I say to the old man, "By the way, are you wearing stripes?" And the old man says, well, yeah." And I say, "Then why didn't you honk?" And then the dude just immediately hung up. It was pretty hilarious. So I drive home later that day and I come back and I realize my sign and a bunch of markers for some reason are gone this time too. No one knows where they went, so I'm starting to think at this point that the Applebee's manager is conspiring against me because he doesn't like people honking in front of his restaurant. Anyway, the second coolest thing that happened that day was on 4th of July since I met a new bunch of people who were in band. Got to go around, and band people aren't geeks or nerds or whatever. They're super cool. I don't know where that stereotype came from. But I got to go to a bunch of their parties because surprisingly a lot of them live near me. And I eventually just party hopped until I ended up at Kyle's house, and I probably ate about 3 pounds worth of cake that day, so that was kind of awesome. But the absolute coolest thing that happened was on the last day when I was working at that fireworks booth. Applebee's guy stole my sign, I'm pretty sure, so I just decided to make a new one. I wasn't going to go barge into his restaurant and try to get it back, although maybe I should have. Maybe that would have made for a cooler story. I could have had like this epic fist fight with an Applebee's manager in the kitchen. Just imagine me and him swinging pots at each other, trying to kill each other with forks. I think that would have been pretty hilarious, although I'm not too sure if my fighting skills would hold up and I'd be alive to tell this commentary. Anyway, the point is I didn't get into a fight with the Applebee's manager. What did happen is I made a new sign, and this one said, "Honk if you love your girlfriend." I just thought it was kind of sweet, and not a lot of people honked at it. Not surprisingly, not a lot of dudes were driving around with a girlfriend at the time, but this couple drove up, the chick was driving in their convertible and stopped right next to me. The dude's riding shotgun, and he looks over at me and starts cracking up. So he nudges his girlfriend, and she looks over too, and she just breaks down laughing too. This just so happened to be a really lengthy red light too, and this dude held down the horn for a good 2 minutes. Well, exaggeration, okay, it wasn't really 2 minutes, but it was a really long time, and at the end of it, the chick gave him a kiss on the cheek, and then they drove off. I thought it was really heartwarming. Meanwhile, the Applebee's manager is staring at me through the window with a very disapproving glare on his face as he shakes his fist at me. I mean, that dude was just grumpy. None of the other businesses seemed to mind, but that manager just had a really bad attitude. I guess I can understand from his point of view, a bunch of people are honking outside of your restaurant, but you know what? It was for a good cause. I can sympathize with the dude. I live near the busiest street in the city, literally right next to it, and I have to do my commentaries at 3 a.m. when there are no cars outside because people are honking, people are crashing into each other, people are yelling. It's really noisy outside, and as I'm gaming in the afternoon, there are a bunch of noises going on, so live commentaries are a little difficult. I do all my commentating at night, so there are no background noises that are obnoxious. I can understand that dude's point of view, but I put up with it. I'm sure he can too. And so that's the last I ever see of our villain, the Applebee's restaurant manager. So go home, put my signs away, go to a bunch of parties, and my 4th of July that year was pretty awesome. So 1 year passes by, and at this point I've already met all my community service requirements. I got enough hours, so I don't really need to go back, but I do anyways because I like hanging out with my friends over there in the summer who are at the booth. And for old time's sake, and by old time's sake I mean 1 year ago's sake, wasn't really too long ago, I go out with my friends again, hold up signs, chat with them, really awesome time once again, and make a bunch of people honk because my new sign said honk if you hate traffic, and who doesn't hate traffic. New Applebee's manager didn't seem to mind. It was someone different, and they did not care one bit. Anyway, time to turn in and time to go home, so I'm walking back over to the booth from the street to put my sign in the back when this customer calls me over, and I say, "Sir, I don't work here, you're gonna have to ask someone else for help." But he says, "No, you're the guy who holds signs." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I stand off on the street and hold signs." And he says, "No, aren't you the guy who last year held a sign that said, 'Honk if you love your girlfriend'?" And I said, "Yeah." And that guy starts to tell me how he was the guy who was in the convertible with his girlfriend as she was driving, and later that night he actually proposed to her, and he was basically thanking me for sort of being this sign that their relationship would work out. And the dude told me he was nervous, which can be expected. I've never proposed to anyone before, but I'm sure he was really nervous about it. He knew she would say yes, but he was taking her out to dinner. He knew he'd have to pop the question at the end of it, and he sort of took me as a sign because he saw my sign before they got to dinner, which was at the Cheesecake Factory, which I am a huge advocate of. Good choice of proposal place. Propose your girlfriend at the Cheesecake Factory, not a bad idea. By the way, extreme derp move on my part. Murdering civilians pointlessly. Luckily I get away, there's no consequence for that. But I was about to throw out this gameplay just because of that one little piece. The score ends up to be pretty good at the end though. Yeah, okay, I gave that dude a lure, but I'm getting really paranoid at this point because if you haven't noticed, lots of people are chasing me and trying to kill me. I'm the top player in the lobby. Lots of people after me. Lots of people are my pursuers. And at that point I just got really paranoid. I wanted my kill and I wanted to get out of here. Speaking of being paranoid, gonna knee lift this dude, drop my smoke bomb, and apparently that was a waste. Thought that dude was after me, but anyway, back to the story. That is one of the coolest things anyone told me, is that I sort of eased the nervousness of that guy during the dinner because he just thought I was this descendant from the stars that was going to tell him that the relationship's going to be awesome. And that just really got me thinking, how am I going to propose to my girlfriend? Because I wasn't set up, that dude didn't pay me to like stand there or anything, but I was thinking rocket ship to the moon that explodes and leaves a crater that says "marry me" or something like that, something awesome like that. I have tons of time to think about that. I'm not exactly sure how that guy proposed at the dinner, but I don't want to do something simple like the ring and the wine glass sort of thing, because that's just too overdone. I want to do something extremely memorable. So if you guys have any awesome proposal ideas, leave them down in the comments below. I'll come back in 8 years and I'll pick one of your ideas, and that's how I'll propose to my wife. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this gameplay. 10,800 points was the end of this wanted session in AC3, and I disagree with this accolade. At the beginning of the game, I had the longest kill streak of 3 kills. This guy only lands 3 kills in the game. I landed 3 kills at the beginning, which were probably more awesome than his 3 kills. Anyway, if you enjoy story time with Nicky, let me know about that too. I'll be sure to put more of these out there, because we can only talk about Assassin's Creed for so long. Black Flag's coming out soon. Super excited about that. We'll talk about the gameplay over there. But for now, I would like to go off topic and talk about things on gameplays that don't have anything to do with anything. Thank you guys for watching. Link to the Twitter down in the description too. My older videos are going to pop up on the screen in a second, and I will see you all some other time.